Hi everyone, it's Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat. I had a little bit of a play with some Concord and 9th goodies. I've had these boho butterflies for ages, and to be honest, I've not used them much, and I spotted them when I was having a little bit of a clear out in the stash and thought, I can use those. And my intention was to do like a panel of the butterflies going down, put a sentiment on, keep it nice and simple. I am not good at being light with my stenciling, and I ended up making a bit of a mess of this, so I ended up die cutting them. So I then end up grabbing a totally different stencil set, but here you go. So I started with the butterflies and I went in with yellow and pink. The yellow is Daffodil Delight and the pink is Crisp Cantaloupe, which is one of my favourite pinky peachy colours. As you can see here, there's kind of like 2 or 3 stenciling sections on these stencils. So I've just used some scrap paper to mask off areas, and it's all going fine until this final point, I think. And at this point, I make a right old hash and end up with ink everywhere. So hence I end up die cutting them. But yeah, there's sort of like a layer for the top wings and a layer for the bottom wings, and then decorative bits for the top wings, decorative bits for the bottom wings. And yeah, I end up with some smudgy inky marks on the background, so I can't use this as a panel, which is what my original intention was. But, you know, they're still pretty butterflies, it still works, it's still fine. So I end up inking these sort of like leftover scrappy bits, because obviously I put them in the centre thinking that they were going to stay in the centre, but I felt like I was wasting quite a lot of cardstock there. And I mess up the die cutting. You know when you get that feeling that maybe today's not the right day to do this? That's the feeling that I'm getting. So I have to ink it up again for the final 2. And yeah, a lot of fiddling in order to get 6 die cut butterflies, but they are very cute and they are very much worth it in the end. Right, I do add a little bit more ink to them, and then I have a little bit of a think about what I'm going to do, and I decide to go and grab the Garden Path stencil. So I grab another panel of the cardstock, and at first I do it back to front, so I'll try again, and I decide to ink this up, but very lightly. So I am trying not to add too much dark in the background, because I really want those butterflies to be the main feature and to pop out. I don't do a brilliant job of lining it up. I think I was rushing. I don't know why I was rushing, because I wasn't in a rush. I was just having a nice crafty playtime. But I think I was rushing a little bit when I was doing this, and I wasn't being careful. Maybe my mind was elsewhere. Anyway, it all works out in the end. So I just keep this really simple. I mean, I think there's 5 or 6 layers to that stencil. And most of the time I did a colour per layer, but I think there's a couple where I went in with like this, where I'm just going in with a slightly different colour for slightly different parts of it. But I'm not bothered about precise details, because those butterflies are very much going to pop off the top. I do decide, however, to use the same stamp set, because originally I was going to use the Boho Butterfly stamps for the sentiment, but instead I went in, because I've used this Garden Path, it's these funky stamps that kind of fill that blue area. Obviously it doesn't have to be blue, I've chosen to do it blue. I think I've always chosen to do that blue, actually. Every time I've used this stencil I've ended up doing that blue, but there's no need to. So trim that down after I'd stamped my sentiment. My early espresso ink's a little bit dry, so did have to stamp that multiple times. And then I'm going to create the card blank out of this petal pink, because it goes with that crisp cantaloupe in the background, on the butterflies and on the flowers. And I just think it's really cute, and actually quite a simple card to make. I think it took about half an hour, but obviously that included quite a lot of faffing with the butterflies that I cut out separately, which at this point I haven't used, but I am going to use them on the inside. So I create an inside panel, and I decide to just glue those 3 butterflies down. And then from the Boho Butterfly stamp set, there is a tiny, tiny little sentiment stamp saying love you. and I just cut that out into a little rectangle on that little scrap of the inked up cardstock. I do edge it with the early espresso just to give it a little bit of a frame. And then I decided to take the tiny, tiny, tiny little bodies of the butterflies and ink up a piece with the early espresso and die cut those out, and then just add those to my little butterflies on the inside. Now, this inside panel itself would make a beautiful card front. Very tempted to just chop this card in half and create 2 card fronts, but you know, I've not done that. I've decided to put it all into one card. So I hope you enjoyed this little mashup of the 2 Concord and 9th stencil based products. I really love them. I think they're both very cute products, and I think that they work well together. And as I say, the inside of this card is just gorgeous. So please leave me a comment below and subscribe to see more. But until next time, bye bye.